What is up, YouTube? I'm excited to have you here. You are backstage at my 7-figure altitude event, and I'm about to talk about building massive wealth. And I'm going to give examples. This is actually my examples. I'm going to show real money, real dollars that I put into multifamily deals that have grown like 5x of what I've put in over the last 8 years. And I'm just showing you how I did it, and you can decide what you want your path to be. So welcome, and I'm excited to have you here. Okay. Yesterday, we talked about, for you guys, the creating an active income business, whatever that active income is. It could be W-2 income, it could be self-employment income, it can be all that stuff. So your goal is to figure out how to make more active income. And if you can make as much active income as possible and focus on what you're best in the world at, then you have to figure out how to take that instead of reinvest. Remember we talked about reinvesting back in your business? You're actually not reinvesting back in your business. You're really just keeping the money in there. So if you take that money and pull it out and put it in your personal account, the next step I do is I decide on 3 things. Am I going to invest back in myself? So what am I going to do with that money? Invest back in myself, my education, my growth, my next steps. Am I going to invest back in my business? So what's the return that I'm going to get from myself? Maybe I need to join a mastermind. Maybe I need to join, maybe I need to buy a program. Maybe I need to buy a course. Maybe I need to hire a coach. Whatever it is, life, family, business, what's the ROI of that? Then my business. So maybe I do invest it back in the business. What's the return I'm going to get on that money over the next year? Maybe I get 100% return if my business needs some capital, right? If it needs an injection of capital, maybe I'll get a massive return on my money. And then the third one is I like to invest in assets, just like all of us. Like, what is the cash flowing asset or net worth growing asset that I can invest in? And 2018, I just looked back in the archive, and it was the first ever email that I got from Jason and Peely after they left the 7-figure flipping like single family group and went and figured out how to buy multifamily. They sent me an email and said, hey, we have a deal. Do you want to be one of our investors? And they showed me what it looked like. I just posted it on Facebook like 3 days ago, the screenshot of the email, and I ended up putting $50,000 in that deal. And that decision right there, combined with every decision after that of just investing in every single one of their multifamily deals, changed the financial structure of my life. And that decision to say, I'm going to invest, and then I'm going to invest over and over and over again, was huge for me. So before I show you, like, basically, it's like a giant net worth Christmas tree that gets really big on the bottom from 2018 down to 2024 now, that I'm going to draw out for you. But before I do that, I'm going to show you how I manage my money. So some of you may have seen how where I get this money, what I do with it. I'm just going to show you how I do it, okay? So I told you yesterday, the first thing I did was gave myself W-2 income. I was making like $135,000 a year, okay? And I was I put it against the books, and then I said I dumped that $200,000. So I put like an IOU from the business to me for my W-2. If it's you guys, pay yourself your W-2 income. Maybe you have a full-time job. Maybe you have you're dumping distributions to yourself, whatever you're paying yourself, right? It's coming over into your personal account. For me, I left that in the business because I still had a W-2 job, but eventually I dumped $200,000 into my account. You remember I told you that yesterday? So $200K came in. The first thing that I did with that $200,000 was I bought a life insurance policy. So I bought a whole life policy with paid up additions with Tom Lonnie. I met him at a real estate club meeting here in Nashville when I just moved here. I moved here in 2016, October 2016. In 2017, I met him in 2017. I started to get to know him. And in 2018, when I kind of dumped that money in my account, like late 2017, I said, all right, I'm buying a $5 million life insurance policy for me. So that's the first thing I did. I bought this $5 million policy. And shortly after that, and that one's for me. Shortly after that, I bought another $5 million policy for Lucy. That was probably about $280,000 total that I put in. It was a microwave policy. I put all that money in. And then what I could do is I could borrow back like 90% of that within 30 days. So I basically put it in, and then I had a value, like a cash value that I could borrow back, okay? So that's what I did. I put it in, and then I borrowed it back. And now there's policy fees that were gone, so from that 280, I probably could borrow Let's call it 200 for ease of math. Okay, at the time? So I had this, I'm going to call it the LI bucket. So a life insurance bucket of $200,000. Actually, I'm going to have to draw this to scale because the other ones are bigger. So I had a life insurance bucket of 200K. So that's my $200,000 life insurance bucket. At the time, I had a house. I had a house, the first house we bought here, and I had a HELOC on it. It was like 200K. But then I bought another house. So we moved. So just for ease of, I'll just use the HELOC that I have right now. I bought another house. I paid cash for it. Okay, so I paid cash for the other house. And then I immediately got a HELOC at 90% of the value. So paid cash for my house, got a 90% HELOC on the house. So this is, I'm going to put PR for primary residence bucket. Okay? Bought my house, bless you. Bought my house, it was probably like 650K when I bought it or something. And I got about 580 on that house, right around there. $580,000 HELOC on that house. So for ease of math and storytelling, let's make it 600K. Okay, so that's my personal residence HELOC bucket. Okay, follow? All right. The third one was just like a couple years after that, I bought a farm behind my house. 2 years later, I bought the farm behind my house. I paid $800,000 for the farm. I paid cash for the farm, and then what do you think I did? I got a HELOC at 90%. Actually, my farm was less because they didn't value like the land as much and stuff like that. So I think I have 600K on the farm, and I paid 800K. It was probably worth a little over $1 million now. But so I'm going to put farm. That's my farm bucket. Yeah, let's put 600K in the farm bucket. So like I was telling you yesterday, I've got some equity in here. This house is probably $1 million now. So I got $400,000 of locked in money that I don't have, that I'm not tapped into right now. And maybe we'll call the farm $1 million too. 1 million as well. So I got 400K. And then since then, I've been adding every year. So this is up to about $400,000 now that I have access to. So every year it just goes like this. I put money in here, and then I borrow it back. I put money in here, and I borrow it back. Okay, you follow me? So right now, these are my 3 buckets. Okay? So what I do is I just like, this is my first one. Right now, the reason I'm showing you this is, let's see, this highlighter, let's see if it works. Okay, there we go. So this thing is all used up right now. This thing's like never available. This is the first thing, because I borrow from it, I got to pay interest back to it, but I earn a dividend on it. So that's the value of this. So if I have a loan out on this, I still get a dividend. So I'm borrowing the money, but I'm getting paid a dividend. You see the difference between the HELOC? When I borrow the HELOC, I pay the interest, there's no dividend. So I get to kind of like double tap this money. So I like this money to be the last one in. First money out, last money back. Make sense? Okay. Then this one, like primary residence. So I fill this one up next, my primary residence, because my accredited investor status is based on they take out the primary residence. So right now, this thing's out. Like all this money's gone. I got no money in there. Nothing available. Because I'll tell you what I'm doing with all this in a second. And then this one, right now, it's like this. Right now. I could probably write a check from $50,000 today. But that money's kind of like earmarked for something else already. So the reason I'm telling you this is because now, let's say, so I just invested in a multifamily deal that we closed on Wednesday. I put $200,000 in it. It was the most money that I was comfortable putting in to keep a little bit of money for like my credit card bill and any other stuff. But that's it. I always want to be broke. I always have my money in deals. My money's in deals. So that was the $200,000 deal I just invested in because I had this gap here, and now I took it up to 200. Okay. Make sense? So what that does, whenever I have my money out, it makes me go work my active income to bring it back in, right? So my goal this month is like, okay, I'm a little hungry. It doesn't erase a little bit, erase all of it. So I'm like, okay, I want to get this paid down. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to work. I got to go drive the active income, pay it down. So any money comes in. I just got a $25,000 wire, pay down the HELOC. I get a loan paid off, somebody that I lent money to, pay down the HELOC. And then whenever the HELOC's down, I'm like, oh man, I have access to like $500,000? Okay, put it in the next apartment deal. Or invest it in myself, or invest it back in the business. Make sense? Okay. So I just wanted to show you this framework and structure of how I do it so that you can see how the money moves very easily. So I stay hungry to go out and earn more money, not get insanely comfortable. I don't have like $10 million in the bank where I'm just like, hey, I'm fine. I'm always trying to get as much money into play as possible. Because maybe I'm paying 7% for this, 7.5%, and it's out there making 20 plus. Right? Make sense? Okay, cool. So now let's look at any questions on this before I keep going. Yes, Elvin. Go ahead. Yeah. So as far as the credit cards, things like that, so my credit cards get paid off in full every single month. That's every single month my credit cards get paid off in full. So I know that if I have a $25,000 credit card payment coming up, I'm forecasting and just scheduling that. So like I need to make sure I have that available. I have an airplane, so the airplane payment is like $16K a month. So like I have to make sure I have that available and that's getting paid. If I have anything forecasted in the future, like in the next few months, maybe I have a commitment, like my life insurance policies are expensive, right? So they might be like 30K or 50K at one time. So I'm making sure that I have that available. I'm just forecasting in the future a couple things.
Is it coming out the HELOC
yeah.
or active?
Yeah, I just keep it out of the HELOC because I got no money in my checking account. Like I have like $2,000 in my checking account. That's it. And then if I need money, I just transfer the HELOC to my checking account and it pays the bill. This morning, I transferred $10,000 from my HELOC to my checking account, paid my credit card bill. That was it this morning. I had to wire some other money this morning, transfer it over, send out the wire. Payroll for my farm and my personal staff, my videographer, my team, comes out of my checking account. On Wednesday, it moves into my checking account on autopilot. Thursday, it comes out on payroll. Once a week, every week. Just the way it goes. So now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pay this down a little bit. So I have a comfort buffer. You will have a comfort buffer. You create your own comfort buffer. If you're less risk, like you don't like as much risk, you want 3-6 months of like operating expenses for everything in your bank account, fine, you do that. You do you. For me, I want my soldiers working. I want them out working all the time. Go work. Go work. So when I'm sleeping, they're working. I'm gonna show you how. Okay? So the next piece for me was, this is what I did. And this is what I continue to do. And I'm gonna show you the power of this because it starts really compounding. It's insane. And this is the beauty of multifamily, whether you're a general partner or a limited partner. And so for the first 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021, I think for 4 years, I was just a limited partner. I just put the money in. I got a $150,000 tax bill. Remember when I told you that first year that I did 67 deals in the single family business? I was still working my W-2. I was making 120K on my W-2, maybe 110, probably taxable around 80 because I was a military guy and some of the stuff's not taxed for us. And then I made like $500,000 in my business. I got hit with a $150,000 tax bill and they were withholding a bunch from my W-2 salary. So I was like, holy crap. And remember, I paid myself $130,000 W-2, so I was paying taxes into that too, withholdings. So $150,000 on top of all that, I was like, this did not feel good. How can I fix this problem? That's when I started learning about multifamily, real estate professional status, plus 100% bonus depreciation. I have not paid a single dollar to the IRS legally since then. Okay? And I'm carrying a $1.8 million loss from 2022 to 2023 right now because of what I'm about to show you. And so the key though, number one key that I was doing is making a lot of money, a lot of active income. right? And so then my problem, it created, remember the problem solution framework? That created a problem. My solution was, okay, the problem it created was what? Taxes, right? Solution, what is the best vehicle at the time for me to not pay taxes, to pay less taxes? For me, it was multifamily. It was bonus depreciation. It was Section 179, bonus depreciation. There were a bunch of other things, but the biggest one was bonus depreciation, which I saw the first year. So the next thing that I did was say, okay, the next step is if you're going to invest in multifamily or whatever asset, you got to figure out what your goals are. There's really 3 goals in investing that I see: cash flow, net worth, and tax. Those are the 3 things that I look at: cash flow, wearing the sweatshirt for a reason for you guys, net worth, and tax. Okay, if you can get all 3, amazing. But usually you're getting like 1 or 2 out of the 3. All right? So if I want a lot of cash flow from a deal, I'm probably might not be getting a lot of net worth growth. So I said, I don't need cash flow. I have an active business that's kicking off a lot of cash. So I don't care about cash flow. I don't need monthly checks at 8% or 10%. I don't care about that. If I get a little bit, great. But I'm cool, like the stock market. Stock market, most people don't invest in like dividend paying stocks. So stock market's the same. Long-term capital gains, right, which is tax benefited. It says slightly lower tax rate. Then you've got dividend paying stocks. And then you've got like blue chips, bigger stocks that are going to grow, right? So that's net worth, cash flow, tax. That's the 3 steps in any investment. Bitcoin, same thing. Not a lot of, no cash flow. They're looking for big growth, and nobody has any idea how this is going to be taxed in the next few years, right? But I look at all 3 when I'm looking at a vehicle, right? What is it going to do in those 3? So I didn't care about cash flow. Here's some assumptions that you need to know. Didn't care about cash flow. I cared a lot about net worth growth because that's what I was looking to do. And I cared a lot about taxes. So I said this vehicle was really good for me. Okay? So, still follow me? Okay, you guys still awake? Cool. I mean, we're talking about money here. We're talking about millions of dollars. So you okay with that? All right. All right, so 2018. 2018 was that first email, and I put $50,000 into a deal. So $50,000 into this deal in Kentucky. It was like, that's like all I had. You know, it was like, and I wanted to see how it went. But here's what most people do in multifamily. This was a 7-year hold, was their projection. They're going to hold it for 7 years, and it was going to be like a 1.9x multiple on my money in 7 years, right? So what I see most people do is they go, okay, I'm going to put $50,000 in there and see how it goes in 7 years. And then I'll do the next one, right? But this kicked off like a $23,000 loss on a K1 for me year 1. And I was like, whoa, $23,000 loss? This is great. And then there's another deal that came across my desk like 3 months later, and I had been making more money. 1 second. Let me map these out, and then I'll answer your question. The second one, I put in 100,000. That produced like a $45,000 loss on a K1. And I was like, whew, that felt pretty good. $45,000 loss. I need more of that. And so at this point, I'm like, okay, I'm investing for tax depreciation primarily at this point, right? Tax loss for me. And again, real estate professional status, full-time real estate, all I did, and I'm looking for net worth growth. The next one, I didn't have a lot of money at the end of the year. It was like insurance policy paying time. I put in 25K. This is my first year. So first year, I'll put the totals over here. This one, 175K in. All right? 175K total. All right, Chris, you still got a question? Okay, hold on. Let me throw you this box here so we can get it. Oh, I'm going deep. Whoa! Oh, nice. This is a bad throw.
Okay, so the $50,000 was profit. So instead of $50,000 worth of profit, you said a 25,000 K1 loss. Is that right? Showing
Yeah, so $50,000. So $50,000, I pulled it out of my business, or I saved it up, or whatever, right? So this one came from my life insurance policy loan. Remember, I did that life insurance policy. I pulled $50,000 out. I put in this deal, right? So it was active income. If you're doing this without, forget about what I showed you on the first one. You make 50 grand, you put it in an account, and then you put it in a deal. You invest in a deal cash, right? 50K. And I'm not including my IRA investments on this chart. Okay, in my IRA and 401K, I'm not going to include on this chart because that would be a bunch more. Just my cash investment. So 50K. And then another one came across and I was like, okay, I have $100,000. I just made money in my business. I took a distribution, put 100K in this deal. So I just wire $100,000. So that's my input. And then what this does is they do what's called a cost segregation on these, and they give me a depreciation schedule, just like you would in a single family house. You guys have depreciation schedules on your rentals, right? Same thing here, except in the commercials and the rentals too, there was a law passed about bonus depreciation. I could put it all in the first year. Not 100% of it, but a lot of it, like almost all of it. And then I get like little depreciation year 2. And we take all the depreciation and we move it forward to year 1. And you can do the same thing in your rental properties. Okay? So I did that. It usually kicks off, for us, it usually kicks us out about between 40 and 50%. Sometimes 55, sometimes 40. This building, I bought this building for like, I don't know, a little over $3 million. We did a cost segregation. It gave us like 42% bonus depreciation that we could accelerate to the first year. So I got like, I don't know, $1.5 million in depreciation for this building in 1 year. Right? It makes sense? And there's a mortgage on it. Put 350 in, got $1.5 million depreciation. It does sound like cheating, doesn't it? Right? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. You could do the same thing on a house. A single family house you buy for 200K, you get a mortgage for 180, you put 20 in, you get bonus depreciate it, and maybe get 60, 70K in depreciation losses.
a different way to look at it. Instead of paying taxes on 50, you're not paying taxes on 25 because 25, or is it the 50,000 you're not paying taxes on plus an additional 25 of a write-off?
Okay, so the question is from this $50,000. So this is income, or wherever you bring it from. Just look. Let's say I made $400,000 that year. Like it's not. I don't get taxed for like take the 50 and put it into the deal. I don't get taxed on the 50. I already got taxed on the 50, right? Or not. Like I haven't been taxed on any of it. I'm an entrepreneur, right? Just like you guys. Like we can control our taxes based on what we do inside of our business. So if I made $400K that was net to me, my goal is to go offset the $400K. So if I put 50 in this deal, it offsets 24 of it. It did.
Okay.
If I do this deal, it offsets another 45. Okay, so now I'm at 60, right? Or 70. I'm close to 70, like 69. Okay. Okay, I was like, okay, I got to figure out how to go offset 330. Got 330 left to go. And so, and then the 25, and then I'm doing other things, like might buy a Section 179, like a vehicle or something for my business. I might do some, I mean, I definitely didn't plan on getting into all the tax strategies, but I might do income shifting and bring my kids into the business. I might do all different kinds of stuff. I might start a solo 401k and put it in a traditional account and have a company match. I might do all the stuff that I teach you guys annually around November. You can go back and watch the one from last year on all the tax strategies. I do a tax call every single year for you guys, right? And so I do all that other stuff to try to offset as much of my income as I can.
The cost seg, and then you later do a 1031. Is the cost seg and everything you put into it personal property in which you could not 1031 out of?
Well, great question. So you say I did a cost seg, I bonus depreciated everything, and then I sold it and I want a 1031.
At some point down the road.
Yeah, I number one, I would talk to a 1031 specialist. I'd talk to my CPA, but you can 100% absolutely 1031 it. But you took all those losses already. The goal of the 1031 is not to pay back the bonus depreciation or the recapture, the taxes on the gains, all that stuff. So I would venture to say it's likely that you can because you're going to be depreciating it anyway, and you're just kicking the can down the road. All this is doing, the depreciation, is kicking the can down the road. to later. Okay, so if I sell it, I'm going to have to pay the recapture for anything that didn't fall off, right? And I'm going to have to pay taxes on all my gains. But then what you do, and I'll show you what I did. I'll show you what I did here when I map it out. The Christmas tree. When you see the Christmas tree, I promise you'll see it. I did what I call the poor man's 1031. Where maybe it's the rich man's 1031 because I didn't have to pay for a 1031 specialist, right? So, yeah, I'm going to. It's okay. We'll get back to that if we need it. Okay, so we got 50K, 100K, 25K, 2018. Got it? 2019. Again, what I didn't do is say, all right, I got this investment. I'm just going to stop. I just kept going. Anytime Jason and Peely sent me an email or texted me, I'd be like, let me see the deal. I'll look at it. And I was like, how much money do I have? What can I put in? So then the next one, 2019, there was a deal I put $100,000 into. Had some more money in the beginning of the year, did pretty well. And I'm just going to write these out. There were 4 investments that I made this year. The next one was 50K, then 75K, then 40K. And you can see at the end of the year, it's like, how much money do I have? It's like Christmas gifts. It's like all this stuff. It seems to be like more skimpy as I get later on in the year. But that was $265,000 if my math was right. 265K for that year in 2019. Okay? Now 2020 was like the coolest part. 2020. 2020, something really incredible happened. This property right here that I told you they said they were going to hold for 7 years, they sold it. And I got $78,000. And by the way, I'm not even including the little payments that I was getting quarterly for all these. Like the cash flow, this is just them calling me up and saying, Bill, we need your wiring instructions. I have $78,000 with your name on it. I'm going to send it back to you. I was like, what? You guys have heard me say this before. I call this burying it in my backyard. I like to bury the money in my backyard. I forgot about this $50,000. Like it's on my balance sheet, but I don't even remember that I have it. It's just like out there in the yard, working while I'm sleeping. And one day somebody's going to call me up. And this is the moment right here that changed everything. This deal right here, the one that I'm going to write right in here. That's when I said, oh, I'm going all in on this strategy. Okay, so $78,000 came back. What do you think I did with it? Put it right back in because they had a deal with it. This is a good syndicator calls you up and says, I need your wire instruction to send you $78,000 and I have another deal you should take a look at. And they did. I got my $78K back and I was like, let's just roll it all back in. Now this is what I call the poor man's 1031. Maybe I should change it to the rich man's 1031 because what I did was this. So I put $50,000 in, right? I got a $24,000 write-off. I put the $78,000 in and this produced like a $40,000 write-off. Okay? So if you follow me here, I had to pay back some of the $24,000, probably like 20, that didn't fall off for the first 2 years, plus the $28,000. So about $48,000 that was coming back to me in a taxable event, right? The profit and the bonus depreciation that hasn't fallen off yet. Add that together, and the $78,000 pretty much washed it out. Make sense? So I was able to write off, just do another bonus depreciation 100% write-off. And so it's kind of a wash. I just kept going. So the 100% bonus depreciation was allowing for me to basically 1031 all of these deals that you're about to see. So that was a $78,000 one. Then I put, okay, I'm just going to write these out. So that was the only one that paid off this year. And then I put in 50K in one, 25K in another, 200K in one. This is because at this point, I was like, I need to start selling some of my rentals, my houses, my single family houses. I started looking at return on equity of my single family houses. And I started saying, I'm making like 20% or more on these things. I'm making like 6% in my rentals. And they're giving me some headache. There's about to be a roof correction, about to be an HVAC change, things like that. So I sold a rental and I put that into a deal that was, this was an opportunity zone deal that they had. It was in an opportunity zone, so it gave me a lot of other benefits that we don't have time to talk about here, but we will talk about in the future, I promise you. And then I put $100,000 in another one. And this was like rental selling time and income, and then 50K. So the total here of new money was 425. And these things were offsetting a lot of my capital gains from my rental properties that I was selling. All the depreciation that was happening here. 425. Okay. You might just need to keep this box. Yeah, is it a short one? I'll read it back. Okay. Yeah, at some point when I want to use the money, not reinvest it, what will be my tax strategy? At that point, I'm going to figure out what I decide to do. I don't know. I bought an airplane. I could sell all of this right now. I have a $1.8 million loss just from 2022 to 2023. I could have sold everything in 2020. There were years where I was like, I don't care if they sell them all. Like, I have a huge tax loss. But it's all just kicking the can down the road for a while. Eventually, I'm just going to die. And then it's going to step up the basis on lots of stuff. You know, if I hold it long enough, right? And so it's just every year, my strategy as far as tax goes is changing. Now, this is not even a tax conversation. This is a net worth conversation. So many entrepreneurs don't actually own anything. They have their business. They just make active income and, like we talked about yesterday, reinvest it back into their business. Whether it's this strategy or it's rentals, Andy does the same thing with single-family houses. He's got some apartments, but he's got single-family house rentals. And he does that. Many of you have many rental properties, single-family rentals. That's okay too. Like, whatever your strategy is, I just want you to break off things to make you worth something. Okay? So, and I'm just showing you how I did it. This doesn't mean you have to do it exactly the same way. However, I like this strategy because I don't get phone calls for any. I'm still not even active in these businesses yet. I'm just picking the right partner. That's the key. Pick the right partner. You want me to, let me just draw this out and then I'll come to questions, okay? Let me draw it all out just so you can see it because it gets really juicy in 2021. And I'm not even going to draw, I probably won't draw past 20. I'll just put the totals in 2022 and 2023. Because in 2021, what happened is this $25,000 deal right here sold, and it was a beauty. Sent me back like 48K. So I'll just kind of box the ones that sold, gave me 48K. This one sold, and that's a longer story. It was a different syndicator. It was a mistake for me, a good lesson learned. But I made it brought back in 122K. So I got my money back plus 22,000 for like 1, 2, 3. Paid no distributions, no cash flow at all for this whole time. So this was a dog and a bunch of lessons learned on who to partner with, who to invest with. I got a little excited after this one and I was just like, oh, there's another deal, here's 100K. And it was somebody else. And then this one sold and brought in 195K. Then this one sold this year and brought in 76K. And then I put in 150K in another one, 50K in another one, 100K in another one, and 75K in another one. This is all new money into these deals. That was about 425. Oh, I'm sorry, 375. Yeah, 375. 375K of new money, not including all the stuff that paid out. Okay. 2022. I'm just going to write 2022, 2023. I put about 400K in this year of new money, 400K in this year of new money, and almost all of these came back. And like grew by somewhere between like 50 and 100%. These are all really good years for us of selling buildings. We had one building that sold for 94% return in 22 months. So like if that was for just the passive investor puts in 100K, they got 194K back in 22 months. It was this, like that, 100 to 195, like just great years, right? And so, I mean, everything wasn't perfect, but for this time, I was like sleeping through this. Like I was working, building the business, bought 7-figure flipping right here, started producing cash flow from this business, active income from this business and my real estate business. And then I sold some rentals that I bought, cashed in that equity and reinvested it back in here. And it just like stacked and stacked and stacked. So, I mean, this tree right here, if we look at all these boxes, it just starts going like this, right? And there's more and more holes in the backyard. So this went from about $2 million of stuff in my money over these 6 years or so to about $10 million of cash, of like cash positions, of net worth here. And it's just cool to see it like double and double and double and double, because when this stuff moves quick and you get a good deal, it just keeps stacking. And when you forget about it because it's in your backyard and it's just working while you're sleeping, it's growing and you're also building your business. So this is how like I got active about here, 2022, 2023, 2024. So when they asked me to come in and start raising money and doing investor relations and that kind of stuff, because they wanted to grow and scale their business. And still, every single deal that I've ever done, I put money in. There's only one deal that I haven't put money in. And it's because I had too many investors that wanted in the deal. And it just happened to be that deal, that our deal, that was like huge return, like double their money in a short period of time. It was our 49 unit in Chattanooga. I couldn't get my money in play because there was one investor who was like, I really want in. I was like, all right, I'll take my 100K out and put your 100K in. And I invested somewhere else. So I'm always trying to figure out whether I'm involved in the deal or not. When Jason and Peely, so I found an operator that I really love working with. Like I think Jason is the best in the world at managing the property and operating the property after closing. And that's the biggest part. They own it for the next 7. We own it for 7 or 10 years. That's the thing that matters. Not the guy you talked to in the beginning. Like, yeah, you want me on your team, bless you. You want to like the team, but that person, like the people that underwrite it, because all they got to do is change 2 or 3 numbers in a spreadsheet and spit out the return on that little screenshot that you're looking for. Oh, you want a 16% IRR? Oh, no problem. Let me just Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, a 16.2% IRR. Here you go. And you're like, okay, I'll invest in that. And that's basically most people's underwriting for as an investor. And it was mine in the beginning. This same thing. This looked really good on paper. This one was a 1.9x. This was scheduled to be a 2.2x multiple. And I was like, oh, that was better than the last one I invested in. Here's $100,000, even though you know something. I know somebody that you know, but I don't know you. That was my mistake. That makes sense? So I found somebody, good communication, somebody I knew I had trust in from the beginning. They've had success in other businesses. I had a belief that they would do a good job. And then when this happened right here, that 50K turned into 78K, and they did a good job. And I was like, okay, you got my money, you got my money, you're getting my money, you're getting my money, you're getting my money every time. And that's what I would encourage you to do, is find a great operator. So this was like how it grew. It's some of the tax stuff, some of the net worth growth. There is cash flow. Cash flow typically in a multifamily deal, I see about 3 to 5% the first year and about 6 to 8% every year after. And these are value add buildings, not like Class A, Class B, already cash flowing. There's those things too. But I wasn't looking for that. I was looking for the value add to grow the net worth. I want the net worth growth. That's what I want right now for me, and the tax depreciation. Okay, ready for questions? Okay. Lawrence, you had your hand? Oh, I did. Okay. Cash flow. So cash flow. If you want cash flowing stuff, just think about your cash flow. A lot of times we look at the rental properties and we look at the cash flow on it and it says like it's 8% or 9%. And then we got to fix an air conditioner. And then it's at like -2% that year. Or because you're making like 6K a year or 8K a year. And then you got to replace a roof. And so I don't see that in the multifamily buildings as much because like if I replace one refrigerator or one air conditioner, it doesn't mess up the entire like big operation. And now if I'm involved in one in my IRA that had a fire. And that fire took out like half the building, and we haven't gotten distributions because we're still waiting for insurance payments and there's no rent and those kind of things. So insurance pays rent loss, but it takes time. And so that's been a challenging one of another operator.
We said in the beginning it's like 2 to 3.
Can you talk in the mic? Talk in the mic.
So you said in the beginning that you get about 2 to 3%, and then after it's turned around about 5%.
So typically, like our deals, I know our deals very well. It just kind of depends. So sometimes if it's a big value add, like we have to do a lot of work, it might take 6 to 9 months to get that first distribution. But what you get in a multifamily deal is you get a preferred return. So what that means is the preferred return might be 6%, 7%, 8%, but that means the investor gets paid that, so they catch that up before they do equity split distributions. So a lot of times the syndicator doesn't get paid until the investors get caught up to that number. So like our deal right now is a 7% preferred return, which means once the investors make 7%, then I get my equity split. So if we have more than that, then we split it out to investors and partners, to general partners that are just doing the work. That's how they get paid. So it aligns the syndicator to actually do a good job, get those returns up because they want to get paid, right? So that's how you align a deal like that to make sure the investors get it. But usually, on average, like our deals, and you'll see it, like when the syndicator gives you something, they'll usually break out each year projected cash flow returns, like cash on cash numbers. So you'll see like, I usually see for ours, yeah, like 2 to 5%, maybe 2 to 4 the first year. And then we get to like 6 to 8. And then usually around year 3, you'll see it drop down because that's when the interest only payments stop to the bank. And then they start doing principal payments. So you see it drop to maybe like 7. But where we make our big money is when we sell and exit the building. And that's when this big waterfall like this happens. So in most of these, like I get like $600, $800 every quarter from each deal. But I mean, stuff starts stacking when you got 20 of them. So, but it's not, I mean, for me, the amount of money that I make, it doesn't really affect, I sweep it into my HELOC, you know, $600, $800. It's kind of like, at this point, like I want 100K. I want 50K. Like I want a month where I'm making 100K a month. That's most of your guys' goals and where some of you are at. You do these big deals, but it's going in my account and then I'm putting it somewhere else. Make sense? Yeah. Okay, Therese?
You answered my question.
Okay, cool. Daniel? Let's go, Daniel and Kelly.
So when you said that you were taking the money and it was returning 20%, is that 20% total?
That's an average annual return. So like, let's say it held, I put 100K in and we held it for 2 years and I'm seeing a 20% return. I'm making like I make it 40,000. So about 20,000 per year.
So these are value add buildings you guys are taking over?
Us specifically, yes. So all like
renovating units,
renovating. So renovating
rents.
Units, maybe raising rents, maybe not.
Okay.
Maybe just adding a different revenue stream. Maybe billing back water to the tenants because it's currently maybe it's mismanaged. Do better marketing, signage. Like we've put in coin laundry in some places to increase revenue. We've done a lot of things. I mean, we've put like rented cell phone, put a cell phone tower there. Billboards, like there's so much different income streams that you can do. A great asset manager can figure out how to make more money in the building. It's a business. It's like flipping a business.
So how do I learn that piece of it?
Oh, I mean, we have an event on May 9th, 10th, and 11th. You go to that. So we have a virtual event. But like, look, the reason why, for you guys here in the room, single family investors, if you're not ready to get active in the multifamily side, do not go there. Like, do what you do here really, really well. Like you have a superpower right now. You have a secret. When you're ready to like jump from this to that, this is what I told Jason and Peely in like 2017. They were doing single family flips. They were trying to wholesale. They had a beer brewing business. Jason was still involved in his house lifting business with his dad in New Jersey. They were doing something else like dog treats or something. And they were trying to get into multifamily, like larger multifamily. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was dog treats. There was something else. There was some other one. I was like, what is that? It's kind of like how I am now. But it was all of these things, and I just said, you guys need to focus. I didn't expect them to stop paying for the mastermind and go to another multifamily mastermind, but that's what they did. I gave them some coaching, and I said, you need to focus. They said, we want to do multifamily. We went all in on multifamily. And I would recommend you stay all in, and because that's their active income. Multifamily is their active income business now, and it just happens to be a passive income vehicle. So my recommendation to anybody is, if you're doing well, like you're doing well, and you're like mastering your craft, unless you hate it, because it's going to take a year or 2 years. Like multifamily is, if you are looking for fast money, quick money and deals, it's not going to happen in multifamily. That's a long-term, you got to be making 6 figures or more, long-term growth strategy, and you're cool waiting a year or 2 years potentially to get your first deal. It might happen in 6 months, but there's a lot of learning in there. And like, so you got to be ready. If you want to shut this down and go learn that, it takes time and it takes some patience. So the people that I see that have really a lot of success in there are folks that are all in on it. It might be somebody who has a W-2 job, or they run their own business, they make a couple $100,000, and they're okay. They usually have like, a lot of this is like, I have older kids, I'm second business. I want to start something. I'm cool waiting like a year or two, because I see a lot of flippers go into multifamily and like quit after a couple months, because they're used to like getting 3 deals a month, getting 5 deals a month, 2 deals a month, making $100K here, $50K here, and they go over multifamily like, this is taking forever. So then my biggest thing to say to anybody who's thinking about that is just, you got to have patience, and you got to learn. It's a lot, like learning the skill, learning the craft. It is worth it, but find the right time to do it. Because we've got a lot of people jump from this mastermind to our 7-figure multifamily mastermind, or try to do both. And I see them really struggle in the multifamily side, because they're still spending so much time in this business, their single family business. So most people that I see successful over there, they're like, they got money, they're cool waiting, but they want to go all in on multifamily. So they have like a couple $100,000 in the bank. They're not trying to, feed their family every month to make money in their regular business. They're established. And that's the perfect person to go over there and learn on May 9th, 10th, and 11th at our Multifamily Live. So you can go to multifamilyliveevent.com, grab a ticket. If that sounds like you go to multifamilyliveevent.com, grab a ticket. It's May 9th, 10th, and 11th. It's a virtual experience. It's under $200. You don't need a flight. You don't need a hotel. You don't need any of that stuff. You can be at home, just lock the doors, focus with us, and it's not me talking at you like I am right now. I can actually see you on the screen. We can interact with you, put you in breakout rooms, network with all the other people that are doing deals right now. It's an amazing experience. We've done this many times before, and we've seen so many breakthroughs. It's incredible. Next question. Yes, Kelly.
Strategy that was shared with me is, you never sell it, you refinance it, take the cash out, and move on.
Yeah, it's a great strategy to never sell and refi. The challenge is there's a lot of investors, so you guys invest in these deals with me. Like, people that make money invest in these deals with me, and they want their money, they want their return, and they want their money in like 5 to 7 years. Like, they don't want to keep their money in there for 30 years. So right now we're playing the Monopoly game as a team, syndication, and there are some that we will keep. And there are some that we'll buy ourselves and not bring in investors. Right. So I tell, right now, my goal is to figure out how to make a ton of money, so I don't need you guys to invest in the deals. I'm just going to stroke the check. I want to own 70% of it. I own almost 50% of one of our deals. I wrote a big enough check. I own almost 50%. And then I got 33% in another building, and the one that I own 33% in, we'll keep forever, because we own it together. But a lot of these, we just did the one we just did. We closed last Wednesday. It's a $34 million deal. We had to get 13 million in. I can't write that check yet. 5 years, I plan to write that check, and this is how I plan to do it. We will exit these, and I will buy buildings myself, because I only need that one. That one building that I own 33% of could support our family forever. Not at our lifestyle right now, but or college or any of those other stuff my kids might want. But yeah, it will. And these life insurance policies, I saw some comments on YouTube, like there's a bunch of upfront fees, significant front load, all that stuff. Yeah, I understand. But at year 7, that thing starts really accelerating with compound effect. It's just insane. And I'm already in year 8 right now of that life insurance policy. And that thing's growing like crazy. And it keeps going up. My cash value keeps going up. I keep getting to use it. And it's going crazy. I'm double tapping. I'm double dipping. Making money here and I'm using it. And when the money's out, I'm still making money on it. That doesn't work with my HELOC. It doesn't work with your rental properties. It doesn't work with any of that stuff. And when I'm using it, right? So I understand that I lost access to a lot of that cash in the beginning, but my kids have a $1 million life insurance policy on them. Will has $1 million, Lucas has $1 million, James has heart problems. He couldn't get life insurance. So when they're ready to buy their own car, we're not going to Wells Fargo. They're going to take a loan for their own car and pay themselves back. When they're ready to buy their first house, they're going to take a loan from their policy and buy their first house. And at our next event in Baltimore, I'm going to show you the trust structure and how I don't really own anything and how we have it set up for the trust for the life insurance policies, the trust for the business, the holding companies, how all the businesses flow into those that we're building right now. And in Baltimore, I'll show you that in August, because I think that's probably the next step for a lot of you, is to really take away a lot of the liability, simplify it, and then look at what happens if something happens to you. So for me, if I die, $10 million, I have $10 million life insurance policy now. It goes into a irrevocable trust. Lucy's going to get $2 million is the plan. $8 million goes in to buy future life insurance policies and make money for the family and distribute over time, because I don't think Lucy is ready to take $10 million in a bank account right now. She just doesn't have the financial mind. She doesn't need to worry about that. She gets $2 million, go do whatever you want, buy a house in England, get first class flight over there, move all the stuff, like buy some stuff if you want to. $8 million is going to go fuel, just from the life insurance policy, go fuel the family for years. And so we'll talk about that at the next event, is my plan. So these are all really big, like wealth building strategies, principles that I'm trying to keep pushing to you guys. I'm just like maybe, I don't know, 100 yards ahead of you. And if anybody's ahead of me and you're doing something really cool, I want to know what it is. Okay, questions? Any other questions? I went way over. Yes, Paul.
There you go.
Do you have to be an accredited investor to get in these deals?
So in these, typically, yes. So accredited investor, that's a great question. Accredited investor is someone who, if married, $350,000 a year in income, the last 2 years, likely to make it again this year. I think that number's right. I think it's 350. It's 250 if you're single, 350 if you're married, I believe. And then, but I could be wrong, and if I am, they'll definitely tell me on YouTube. And then, or $1 million of net worth, not including your primary residence. Here's the problem that I see a lot of entrepreneurs make when it comes to this. They think they need to have $1 million in like cash or assets. Don't forget your business. Your business has a value. You can get a business valuation and roll it into your net worth. So that is what I see as like the fatal flaw for most entrepreneurs. They're like, I only have like $600,000 or $800,000 of assets. I'm like, all right, pretty sure your business is worth like $300,000 or $400,000 if you wanted to sell it, and you can get like and so here's what you need to do. You get a CPA, an attorney, a financial advisor to write you a letter saying you're accredited, or there's online portals. We use one called verifyinvestor.com, and for like, I don't know, 30, 40 bucks, I think, maybe 50 bucks. Maybe more. If it's more, they'll definitely tell me on YouTube. You can put it in there and like put all your assets in, it'll spit out a letter for you. And you got to update that every 3 months. So, but yes, that's a 506C, which is accredited investors only. A 506B is a syndication where I got to know you. We have to have a prior relationship, and I can bring in up to 35 sophisticated investors. And those are Reg Ds. There's a Reg A. That's like the crowdfunding stuff that you see. So you see like Grant Cardone doing this, like you can put in $1,000. That's a Reg A, which is really expensive, more challenging to get, open to litigation. But any crowdfunding that you see that's a security is a Reg A. That's something we're looking at potentially doing for the TV show that we're going to be raising money for here soon. So just let people put in $500K or $500, $1,000, $10,000, those kind of things, and not have to be accredited, or you can take a ton of investors in that. So hopefully that makes sense. If you see it on Facebook, like somebody's marketing it in front of you, it's typically a 506C. accredited investors only, because then that allows the syndicator to market it to anyone. I don't have to know you to use your money. Make sense?
Mhm.
Cool. Okay, is this good? Was this helpful? Yeah. Is this good? Okay. All right, if you're on YouTube and you're watching this, thanks for sticking around. That was a long video. I had a lot of fun doing it. But we're doing an event May 9th, 10th, and 11th. It's called Multifamily Live. You can go to multifamilyliveevent.com and check it out. Grab a ticket, tell your friends, share it online, share it on social media. I'd love to have you there. If you want to learn more about multifamily, if you're making $150,000 or more, you're not trying to make a buck like tomorrow. You're not trying to do your first deal in a month, 2 months. You're not impatient. You can wait to make some money. You can wait to grow your net worth, but you want to grow your net worth really big and in a way that has backed with hard assets like real estate, and we want to learn the apartment game from people who are really doing it. Like my partner is doing all of these, and we're going to share exactly how we do it. We have a 6-step process that we're going to show you over those 3 days on May 9th, 10th, 11th. 6 steps. It's our signature framework called our Multifamily Freedom Formula. If you want to learn that, go to multifamilyliveevent.com, click on the link in the description, grab a ticket. I'll see you on May 9th, 10th, and 11th. Bye. Yay!